Greetings, everybody. It's Dr. Keith Fairclough back again with FCS. Listen, today, guys, we are talking about staying on your level. Staying on your level. And I need y'all to stay tuned to this because it's really important. It hit me this morning and it was just so powerful as to why it's so important for us to stay on our level. So what do I mean by staying on our level? I mean by when we're dealing with people and then they pull us down to where they are. I need you to understand that, right? We start dealing with people and they pull us down to where they are. And let me tell you where this even came from, right? So I have a friend and me and him, we've known each other for a long time and we were chopping up, we were talking about his marriage. And so let me tell you about my friend, right? Give you a little bit of context on who this guy is. And this is not a biased view. This is something that I've seen, and other people have said about this guy. Really nice guy. Fun, cares about people, always looking out for others, just listens to people, just a really all-around nice guy. He doesn't have trouble or problems with people at all. But when it comes to his marriage, and it comes to his wife, things change, right? And I'm not saying his wife is a bad person at all, right? I'm friends with this couple. But she does struggle when it comes to communication. And so what happens is when they have a conversation and it doesn't necessarily go the way the wife wants it to go, then she starts becoming upset. Then she starts becoming angry. And then she starts kind of triggering him and kind of poking at him and pulling on all his insecurities and things like that. And so this great guy out in public, you would never think, he starts devolving, right? He goes down to her level and starts devolving, right? He starts being snappy. He starts being rude. He starts giving insults. He starts doing all these things that are so anti-him, just compromising his integrity because she pulled him down to her level. And it's so important for you to understand this, right? What does that even mean? Why is this even important? Why am I even talking about this? Let me explain why. Because when you go down to someone else's level, you lose every time with 100% accuracy. And the reason why is because that's their level. They're the master of that level. They know all the tips, they know all the tricks, they know how to get you, they know how to manipulate you. There is no victory for anybody dropping down to someone else's level at all, because you have to compromise to drop down to someone else's level. You have to give up who you are, who you've worked on to go down to someone's level. So the moment you do that, you lose. That's what they want you to do. That is why they trigger you. That is why they try to make you upset. That is why they target your weaknesses, because they want you to come down to their level in their world where they're gods and they're masters, so they can tear you apart or watch you self-destruct right in front of them. And what you get when you go down to their level? Sadness, depression, anger, frustration, confusion, bitterness, hate, nothing good, defeat, nothing good comes from it. There is no victory for you on their level. You know what they get? They get happy. They get happy, or they don't think about you at all. And if they do think about you, the only thing they're thinking about is, look how I got this fool to come down to this level. Not only pick up the spoils, right? You know what the spoils are? The spoils are all the ways you compromised who you are. And they take those spoils and they put them in their pocket and they say, I got him next time. I got her next time. The next time I know exactly how to pull them down here. And now I know exactly how to tear them apart and how to bring it up and how to throw it back in their face. Now you can't tell me you ain't never experienced this before. I'm pretty sure we've all experienced this to some degree, of people that pull us down to our level and afterwards like, why in the world did I even engage with this person? Nothing good ever comes from it. So what do we have to do in order to avoid doing this, right? To stay on our level, where we're masters, where we're gods, where we have control, where we can strategize, where we can learn how to, do whatever we need to do. Breathe, control ourselves, control how we talk, control all these things we can do on our level and never compromise who we are. That's what happens when we stay on our level. But how do we do that? How do we do that? How do we make sure we stay on our level at all times and never compromise and never go down and fall for the tricks of the enemy? How do we do that? The first thing you have to do is you gotta know yourself. Very, very, very important. You have to know yourself. If you don't know yourself, if you don't know your triggers, if you don't know your shortcomings, if you don't know your insecurities, if you don't know your shortfalls, or if you don't know these things, if you don't know how you can fall, how you can be tricked, how you can be manipulated, if you don't know these things, they will cause you to fall down to someone else's level when they fall. You gotta know them. You gotta know your weaknesses. It's like Superman. He has to know he's weak against kryptonite. He can't pretend like he doesn't know. He has to know that, because then he can strategize when he goes into battle. It's the exact same thing. Now I know it sounds like, oh, Keith, you're talking about being confrontational. You just gotta follow me, because there's people out here in the world who are operating like this and you don't even know it. This guy's wife operates like this and she doesn't even know it. So sometimes it's unconscious. It's just how they were raised up, the environment they came up in. So it's so important for you to know yourself. Know what causes you to fall, what causes you to trip, what causes you to get angry, what causes you to get frustrated, what causes you to yell, scream, insult people, what causes you to evolve to that point. Know yourself. And once you know yourself, it is your responsibility to work those things out. If you remove the triggers from your life, then they no longer work against you. You got to work those things out. Identify what your weaknesses are and work them out. Go to therapy, go talk with a friend, find some way, write, journal, whatever you need to do. Work your issues out. You don't have to hold on. You don't have to keep those. That's very important. That's the first step. Know yourself. Because once you know yourself, you can prepare yourself. Step number 2, you gotta know who you're dealing with. You gotta know who you're dealing with. Take time to learn this person. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about someone you don't have a lot of interaction with, right? Maybe the rude cashier, at the store. You don't have a lot of interaction with them. So we're not talking about people like that. We're talking about people that you have to work with. They're on your job, they're in your house, they're in your church, they're in your community center, they're in your group, they're in your whatever, they're in your school, they're in your class. The people you have to interact with or you have to be around. That's what I'm talking about. Know who you are working with, who you are dealing with. How do they operate? Do they fail to take responsibility for their actions? Do they blame other people all the time? Do they talk about people behind their back? Do you find them trying to, they're joking, but really they're trying to pick at you? Do you find they're always combative when they get into a conversation? Know your enemy. Know who you're dealing with. I know it's a strong word, enemy, but just follow me. Know who you're dealing with. Right? You gotta know your enemy. What is the to keep your friends closer, your enemies closer? Right? It's more important for you to know how your enemy operates and how your friends operate, because your friends you can trust, your enemy you cannot. Even if the person isn't aware of how they're affecting you. That's a whole other topic for another time. Your job is to know how to deal with these people, how they operate. You gotta be aware of them, of all the things they do, right? Watch them. Watch how they move. Watch how they operate. Know who you're dealing with. See how they try to throw other people off. See how they engage in conversation. See if they gaslight. See if they do these things. And when you just take a note. Okay. See that? Okay. Yelling at them. What they do? All right. Okay. All right. Well, I know this is someone I don't want to deal with, or if I have to deal with them, I might not know how to deal with them. The third thing, guys, is to act accordingly. I know you're probably saying this, but what the heck? That's so vague. Listen, there's so many different situations that we encounter. Relationships add all types of different variables. What if this person is your spouse? What if this person is your child? What if this person is your parent? What if this person is your boss? What if this person is your coworker? What if it's your sibling? Like, these relationships have so many different variables, it's impossible for me to sit here and tell you every single strategy for every single relationship. We'd be here forever. When you have these things, you know yourself, you know who you're dealing with, and you act accordingly. Because there's so many ways you can deal with it, right? Depending on the relationship. You can avoid contact with the person, you can limit conversations, you can control your verbal and non-verbal. If you have to deal with the person in a certain way where you gotta make it a point, stand firm on your point of view, right? Stand firm on it. If it's objective, stand firm, do not waver from that. There's so many things we could do in these situations. So act accordingly. You know who you're dealing with. And then you stay on your level, you're able to strategize. You may say, okay, well, I'm not gonna really engage in conversation with this person like this. Or, you know what, hey, if I do talk to them, I'm gonna limit what I share with them, because I see how they talk about other people behind their back, and I'm not trying to give them any ammunition. Think about that. If it's your spouse, divorce is not an option. Obviously, and you're gonna have to talk to them. It's okay, well, okay, this is what triggers them, this is what doesn't trigger them, this is what triggers me, this is what doesn't trigger me, you know, and you work that out. Because like I said, it's gonna look different. Some spouses go from 0 to 100 like that. Some, it's a slow build-up, it's gradual. So for some people, they might be able to say, okay, I see how this conversation is going, and now I'm going to intervene and say, hey, listen, it's not going well, let's come back to it another time. Or if it goes from 0 to 100 like that, that's a time that strategy might be, hey, you know, I'm just gonna walk away right now. I'm not gonna say one word. I'm not gonna say one word. Now there's situations like with your boss, you know, maybe you have to sit there and listen, right? And they're just going. But you just take note, okay, all right? You don't give them the ammunition. And of course, all this, you can always, in any situation, I'll say this now, in any situation, you can always control your verbal and nonverbal communication with the other person. You have complete and total control of that. And it's a lot easier to control that when you're on your level. The moment you go down to their level, there is no more control. You've lost. So guys, it's very, very important. We all got to deal with people who like to pull us down. All of us do. But it's so important for us to maintain our integrity and to not compromise at all. We have to stay on our level. We have to hold that line. And eventually, prayerfully, hopefully, that'll be inspiration to people that are below us. And instead of them pulling us down, when they see we can't be moved, then we can pull them up. Because a lot of times these people aren't bad people. Let me say that. I think I might have used enemy, and I think I might have used toxic or whatever, but just listen to me for a second. A lot of times these people aren't bad people. They just don't know any better. They just don't know any better. But if they see a consistent example, like, dang, every time I try to tear this man apart, it don't work. Every time I try to say something about this woman, man, she's still smiling. Every time I try to just, and just go in on this person, they don't flinch, they don't move. What's up with that? You're leaving a testimony for this person, especially if they're like, man, I want to change. You know what they're going to do when they say want to change? They're going to look to the person who would not move, who was consistent the entire time. So staying on your level isn't just about you. Staying on your level is also about those other people, because the goal eventually is to bring those people up, for people to be better. So all that being said, guys, listen, we got to stay on our level. It's so important for us to stay on our level. Don't let anyone pull you down, ever. All right, don't let anyone ever pull you down. And listen, if you're in one of those situations like we talked about, right? Like I said, the last part was a little vague, but if you're in one of those situations, like, you know what, Keith, I need help identifying and know myself a little bit better. I need help learning how to deal with this person. Listen, that's what FCS is for. We are here to improve the world by improving you. I know without a shadow of a doubt, if we change for the better, our communities around us, our world, our families, our jobs, it all changes for the better as well. That's why I strongly believe FCS, we improve the world by improving you. If you need us, reach out, let us know, and we'll be there to help you. Y'all take care. Have an awesome, great, blessed, and productive day.